It's crazy.
Carl, which pill?
I'm gonna take both.
You can't take both.
I'm taking a purple pill, and I'm gonna live in both worlds.
You can't take both pills.
What'll happen? Nobody's ever done it. I'm the anomaly of anomalies.
Yo.
I'm taking both pills.
You're just
I'm
like,
just gonna be like,
and Morpheus is like,
fuck. Like,
nobody's ever done that before.
he's like, at last.
Welcome back to the big room. We took a week off. Sorry. I know all 7 of you cared because we got that sickness that everyone got a couple years ago, and it knocked us out. And I just didn't feel like recording with a sore throat, coughing every other word, and spewing a virus into this microphone. So
Really cute.
we took the week off. We may or may not make it up. We'll figure it out. We've got 8 months to figure it out. It's April now.
It is April now.
Which is
Time's
wild.
flying.
It's also
Month 4.
baseball season. So I just watched nothing but baseball while sick.
True.
And also the show Archer, which is great. But movies. We watched The Matrix finally. Like a couple days ago, because neither of us had the brain for it. It was my first Keanu Reeves movie. Yay. I don't think I'd seen a movie with Lawrence Fishburne in it either. And my first Wachowski sisters movie.
Good for you.
Expectations. I guess I'll start because I'm the only one who hadn't seen it.
Yep.
Everybody else had seen it before. I had no idea what to expect. I expected green numbers on the screen and kung fu kicking. That's really it. I had seen a couple scenes on television like 15 years ago when I was a teenager. I was not a teenager. I was a teenager 15 years ago. Holy shit. I had seen the red pill, blue pill scene, although in my memory, it took place while they were standing in an alley, not sitting in like a study. I don't know why, but that's how I remembered it. And I had seen the Keanu, or Neo rather, waking up in the pod all shaved and gross. I had seen that. So I had seen that 15 to 20 minute stretch of film before. That was it. I hadn't seen anything else. I knew nothing about the plot except for the red pill, blue pill. Yeah, I mean, it was good. I liked it.
Yeah, you liked it?
Spoilers, I liked it.
Oh.
Did seeing him wake up in the pod kind of ruin that reveal for you at all?
Well, I mean, it didn't. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
I asked him beforehand, I was like, what do you think like this is? And he was like, well, I know they're using the humans as batteries. And I was like, okay. But he didn't know like, what really that
But I didn't know how they got to that point. I still really don't. And there's I guess there's an animated series called The Animatrix that is like that is like the prequel. But yeah, the AI, which was so hilarious because everything's AI now.
Everything's AI. Like the 90s tried to tell us. So if the AI
they tried to warn us.
Like between this and the Terminator, like what were we doing?
Terminator's lit.
What are we doing?
I love the
Add
Terminator.
that to the list.
The writing was on the wall.
Next year maybe we go through. I've only seen T1 and T2 though.
I don't think I've seen any of the Terminators.
Salvation.
Yeah.
And there's another one.
There's a ton now, aren't there?
Yeah, they just did one.
Oh yeah.
The Terminator.
So everybody else has seen it before? When was the last time you saw it? Because you didn't remember it.
I did not remember it. I remembered the general like idea of the Matrix, but I didn't remember literally any plot points.
Nice.
So, I mean, I don't think I've seen it since I was in high school. Me and my dad watched.
Had you seen any of the other ones?
The Matrix movies?
Uh-huh.
Yes, I've seen all of them.
Okay. Well, there was just one as well. Like in 2018 or 19.
Oh, no, I haven't.
So you haven't seen the new?
No.
Nick and Carl. How many times? When was your last time? Have you seen them all?
So I haven't seen it all the way through until literally last night. My brother, it was his favorite movie growing up, so it was just always on at the house.
Oh.
Nice.
So I remembered, because I was 6 when it came out. So I was like 7 or 8 when my brother was probably watching it.
Yeah, I was 4.
So I remembered like the action scenes and like the pill scene, the dodging the bullet scene, some of the kung fu stuff. But other than that, I didn't remember anything about this movie. In fact, I thought it was the opposite of what it ended up being. I
What do you
thought
mean?
they were going like, I knew you plugged into a chair
Yeah.
and like you went into a thing. But in the movie, like the Matrix is reality. And then you have the like present day, like completely ruined world. I thought it was opposite. I thought the ruined world and like the apocalyptic scene was going to be the Matrix, and that real life was just real life.
Okay. Okay.
So it was kind of flip there, which was cool. Didn't see that coming.
Wait, why did you think the other way?
Well, I just thought I never would have thought that. Like, I don't know, real life is real life, so you must be going into something else. Was my thought. Like they must be plugging into this chair and whatever,
Going into
this other world.
Let's get
or
out of this
something.
perfect world and go into this wasteland.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
It's way better.
I know, I'm just kidding.
Carl.
Don't you
Yeah.
want to wake up? Yeah. I can't remember like the last time I'd actually seen it, but I remember being a kid at this like sidewalk chalk thing,
Okay.
and people had drawn on their like piece of sidewalk Matrix scenes, and I remember being like, "What is this?" Like not knowing what it was, and like kids in like trench coats saying it was the coolest movie ever, and that like when I was old enough I should watch it, and I was just like, okay, and it was just like I couldn't grasp like what this was. They were like robots, and I was like, are they fighting robots? But so I can't remember like the actual like last time I seen it, but I took our little time away to go through all of the Matrixes. So I watched the whole
No
quadrilogy.
Whoa.
So I watched the first one, and then I just like blazed through the other ones, and then so I'm taking in a lot of data right now. Like, this is a lot.
Green
I just
numbers
most recently
you see when you close
I
your
watched
eyes
it
in bed.
again. Yeah, every time I close my but so I went. I just watched it again today to get fresh because it was like a week ago. I watched it like the day after the last recording. So
Gotcha. So it's been a while.
so yeah, it's been a while, but and I did like a little bit of a rabbit hole dive into like theories and different
Ooh.
things like that. So a lot of my impact on this movie is based on what happens after this, which is like, the architect and things like that, and the Oracle kind of, it's a lot of, I've got a lot of questions, but most of them pertain to like what happens after this. I'm going to try to tamper that for this episode, but
we should maybe have a Matrix month next year, and
that'd be cool.
I want to run
yeah.
through the other. Are there 4 movies now?
There's 4, and then the Animatrix,
And then Animatrix.
There's a video game or 2. I think there's comics.
And
There's a lot of
video
lore.
games, the video games were also like they had the Wachowskis involved with those
And they're
as well.
canon.
And they're canon. So I really am interested. After seeing it, it felt, in a way, not as deep lore wise as I kind of wanted it to be. If that makes sense. Like I just wanted more of kind of the stuff you mentioned, the Oracle and the Matrix itself.
Or the mystical kind of stuff.
Yeah, or the deeper sci-fi, I guess, because it felt like it wasn't as much Neo and Morpheus in the gang, the Nebuchadnezzar gang, versus the Matrix, as much as it felt like them versus the agents, the 3 agents in this movie. So I was kind of, especially knowing that there are more movies after this, it's like, oh, I want to get into those because I feel like this was definitely like a tee up.
Yeah, absolutely.
So definitely not taking anything away against this movie for that. It's just like I knew there was more out there, so I'm like, oh, one more. So I definitely want to watch the others. I may not wait until next year. We'll see. This movie was revolutionary in many ways. The bullet time effect, not the least among them. The gratuitous slow motion bullet happenings. This popularized that. This movie was heavily inspired by kung fu movies and Japanese anime films, namely I think Akira and one other one, both of which I had remembered. I haven't seen them, but just from like dipping my little toesies into anime, I did a couple years ago, and those were brought up. Although I did not watch them, I watched Had My Life Ruined by Neon Genesis Evangelion instead. I liked the pod scene or whatever, where Neo wakes up. One of the scenes that I had remembered from when I had seen little bits and pieces on television, reminded me that the Matrix tech, you know, how like kind of gross and organic it is, reminded me of H.R. Geiger stuff. And if you don't know who H.R. Geiger is, he designed the xenomorphs in Alien.
Yes. Yeah.
Yep. So he's responsible for the look and feel of the Alien series and Prometheus, and some other stuff. He does that kind of like marries organic with like metallic, in a very interesting and like unsettling way. And I've always really appreciated that. I actually checked to see if he was involved in this movie, and he was not. So that's just
it almost feels Lovecraftian a little bit. Like it's just that cosmic horror of like, I can't believe this even exists. And
there was
the
that
shock of it.
And then that kind of juxtaposed is an improper use of that word with the Nebuchadnezzar's feel, which was very Star Wars to me. And I looked up a little bit on Wiki last night about and other articles about the feel behind the Nebuchadnezzar, and they didn't go, we wanted it to be like Star Wars, but they did do the same thing of like, we want it to feel used and old and exposed wiring, and it felt very Millennium Falcon to me. In a good way. So I really liked
it's almost steampunk.
Yeah, I really liked those two sets, because the rest of the movie is,
it's just like,
Australia,
90s New York.
I think it was.
Well, that was filmed in Australia.
Chicago.
We were meant to be in Chicago.
Yeah, we were meant to be in Chicago, but I think it was New Melbourne or whatever. Who cares?
I did actually hear that in that rooftop chase scene that Trinity's running from one of the agents in, there's a shot of a Nashville skyline. And it's one of the radio station's letters. And I was like, huh.
Look at that.
So I was looking for the Batman building. Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Yeah, the Batman building.
I was looking for that, but I didn't see that one. But apparently it was some radio station building. And I was like, huh, cool.
I wonder
why
of that alien Matrixy kind of feel. So I'm hoping we get a little more of that in the other movies. Because,
I feel like there was a lot of unsettling stuff, though. Like, I forgot how, like,
body horror-y it is.
Yeah,
she was freaking out with the needles in the
100%.
head.
Listen. Since I saw this movie, however many years ago, I still think about the head plugs and freak out. Like, I just, you think about nails on a chalkboard or styrofoam. I think about the head plugs, and my whole body hurts.
Well, it's not a short plug.
No,
it's a very deep plug.
Long.
And I'm like, so there's like a hole in their brain that's like, how is this working? Like, are they just, it's like that would hit like their optic nerve, I guess. Like, it's kind of, There
was a couple scenes too where they were like forcefully shoving it in real quick. I was like, oh my God.
And ripping it out.
I don't want to talk about it.
There's your out of context.
Here's what I didn't fully, here's what I didn't fully grasp. Maybe Carl, who's watched,
I hate it.
Watched all of them recently, can help me out with this. I didn't have a firm understanding of the difference between the Nebuchadnezzar chair needle entering that kind of plane versus being in the pod. Are they both the Matrix, and one is just involuntary because you're asleep and being a battery, and one is they're jacking into the Matrix from the chair and are in more control? Like, I didn't fully understand the difference between those.
I think it's the same process. It's just one's intentional and one is
not
being done against your will.
Well, in the pod, they're also like feeding you. Like they talk about
the juice.
And I don't know how this works, but like the dead feeding the people in the pods.
Yeah, they said they
blended the children in the pods.
They blended up. It's very like womb-ish. You're in that embryonic fluid, that sack of just.
Yum.
I really liked it. That was super cool. I like that kind of stuff.
Oh my no.
That kind of like gross
and then,
sci-fi.
Like, when he pops out and it's like all of his like
all the holes.
Like,
and the two guys that didn't have the holes.
All those little bumps.
Was that City?
Gross. Zion.
Zion.
Because of course it's called Zion.
We got Zion. We got Nebuchadnezzar.
There's a lot of heavy-handed symbolism that in the later movies, they get a little bit more over the top with like forcing it down your throat. You're like, you be a little bit more subtle. Like my problem with some of the later movies, not to get too far into those, but it's just like they really make sure you get it. And it's like, you got to trust the audience to get it a little bit. Like, you don't have to like spell out everything and say everything. You can show a lot too, but
yeah,
Wachowski's like, in the later two really try to like spell a lot of stuff out where you're like, okay, we get it.
Yeah.
You know.
They had
He's a Christ figure. We get it. It's like you don't have to like literally spell it out.
He's the one.
Yeah.
we get it.
Did you guys notice that you can spell the word one with Neo?
What?
What? I didn't.
But
Yeah.
now
I
that
feel
feels
like
forced.
I have
Yeah.
at some point.
You can also spell Eno.
It was right in front of him the whole time. What? You can
Take that
spell
with
what?
a grain of salt. Eno. I'm just
It's the three
It's true.
options.
It's true. Yep.
Um,
There
You
might
are
be
the
more.
Eno.
so
That would have been more amazing. You're the Eno, Neo.
and also the Alice in Wonderland, to follow the white rabbit, and then the chick had the white rabbit like tattoo thing. I was like, oh, neat.
Oh.
The freaking the belly button thing, dude.
Oh yeah. I didn't
Oh,
like
that was.
that.
I had to look away at that.
That was my least favorite.
couldn't
I
do
didn't
it.
get it either. I don't.
I really don't like belly buttons. Like I hate them. And so that was just like, that like, oh dude, I hated the belly button thing. And then when he's like, that was real, it's cracking me
Yeah.
up.
Yep.
Um,
Sure was.
I love
How did they? And they pulled
What
it
about
out
the
of him,
mouth?
but
The
like that
mouth?
would, you
We
would
don't
bleed
need
to
to-
death for sure
we
if that
shouldn't
thing
talk
ripped
about
out of you, right?
Yeah.
I
We
shouldn't
mean,
talk
there was
about
no
it.
blood or anything.
what
but-
mouth thing, Nick? I don't remember a mouth.
When they
When
got rid of his mouth
Oh yeah,
right
yeah,
before
yeah.
they did the
Yeah.
belly button thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
They
wild.
ripped that off in that Wanda movie.
I can't believe he didn't climb up the building because Morpheus.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Morpheus told him like there's two ways you can do this, and it's like follow what I'm telling you and go to the roof, where I assume there was going to be a phone or something that they
Just a
could
path out.
or path out or whatever, or go with them and get arrested. And he was like, I can't climb the roof. I was like, I feel you. I'm afraid of heights. I wouldn't have climbed the roof.
But he
either.
got so close. He
I mean,
was halfway
yeah, but
there.
He just wasn't ready. Didn't believe. But so here's where I'm a little confused. How does Neo know about Morpheus? How does he know to reference the Matrix? Like, does he?
That's
like,
what I was
that's what I'm a little.
hoping-
That's what I'm hazy about.
I assumed there was like some kind of like 90s form of like Reddit.
Like a forum.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
90s 4chan.
Yeah.
Because he's a hacker, even though we don't
Yeah.
like the only real establishment we have into Neo being a hacker is that he's called Neo and it's his hacker name, and he sells those like
floppy disk.
floppy
Yeah.
disks, which cracked me up. Those illicit floppy disks to those the White Rabbit crew in the
Yeah.
beginning of the movie. I felt like
Like a
they
drug
could've-
dealer with programs or something.
I feel like that could have been established a little firmer,
Yeah.
but
Well,
it
they
was
do
also
go
the
over it when
90s.
he's captured by the Smiths, and they're like, they go over kind of his list of crimes and stuff. But like, I was like, yeah, where did the term the Matrix come from? Like, how do they know what to call it?
a
Like,
good point.
how do they know their other aliases? And then when he meets Trinity in the club, he was like, "Oh, you're the one that did that
expected you to
hack
be a
of
guy.
some company or whatever." And I was like, "So like the real world, they're hacking quote unquote places in the real world outside in the actual real world. But like, what is that actually?" Like when they're hacking these places, like what is it actually doing?
Maybe
on
they
their
were
side?
like, were they doing
is it like an
it-
actual?
Did they know the
like-
one was going to be a hacker, so they were
Maybe trying to get its
trying to
attention,
get
but
his
I'm wondering
attention?
if like maybe it's like a shroud for like they're getting database from the machine or getting like they're hacking the
True.
machine's data frame and like it's masqueraded as this like IBM hack or something. That's where I'm kind of confused about like the ripple effect or whatever for like when it's translated into the Matrix, what does it actually mean when they're like doing these back end things like
because isn't
the
the
hack that
green
he said,
isn't the
but-
green numbers and letters like is that not Matrix code or whatever?
Yeah, 'cause
wasn't that
people-
implied? Because he had that on his computer.
And he was like,
Yeah.
like, he could tell what was happening looking at the code. He was like, "Oh my gosh, get him!"
But I agree
Wow.
that was a gripe I had too. Is that all of that stuff? I wish it would have been a little more established with more. Granted, it's not sexy to look at, but like Keanu at a computer,
Yeah.
like I just don't understand, like or whatever. But
Carl,
like,
did you watch the Animatrix?
I did not. That was the only one I didn't watch.
and that's a prequel,
I wonder
right?
if
Because I understand.
Yeah, I wonder if there's anything in that. But I think
Yeah.
that's more about like how the Matrix was formed, not necessarily.
And
any
isn't it
backstory,
Zion too? I think it tells you a little
Yeah,
bit more
yeah.
about Zion and how.
Maybe like how the war started a little bit. I mean, I guess people that are just like, has anyone ever seen the same thing happen twice? And like people, I guess on the real
deja
world, they
vu.
can search those terms and like find people that are curious about the real world or something. But like it is like kind of the waking up process is a little fuzzy.
Yeah. And the stuff that they do explain, like you said, they when they were charging him in that the Smiths were charging him in that room, it's like, man, it sucks that we're learning this 45 minutes to an hour into the movie.
Yeah.
But you know, I don't know. I still don't, and I haven't seen it. It tells me a little bit that you're still confused and you watched all 4 movies.
Well, I've also watched a lot of videos that were like, Neo isn't actually the one, and like there's a lot of theories about like who actually is the one, and I don't want to
his name.
Well, I don't want to ruin the other movies for you guys.
Yeah, don't say anything.
Yeah, there's a lot of I mean, it's deep lore. Yeah,
that's what I want. So I'm glad that it's out there.
Yeah,
that's what I want. Let's talk about some of the other cast. The casting. Did y'all look up? I know Nick probably did. Some of the casting. I want to talk about some of that stuff.
It's crazy
because
like who was up for it?
Who
or
was
like,
up for it? Yeah, exactly. Like,
well, I think Depp was up for the one at one point.
So many people were up for the one.
They didn't want poor Keanu Reeves.
The first one was Will Smith, and he turned it down because he didn't understand the script, and he went on to make Wild Wild West.
Just made him want to slap somebody.
Nicolas Cage turned it down for family obligations. Warner Bros. Wanted Brad Pitt or Val Kilmer. Both declined. DiCaprio initially accepted it, but because he just did a visual effects movie with Titanic, he didn't want to do 2 in a row. So he turned it down.
Okay.
And then the studio pushed for Keanu Reeves over Johnny Depp, who was the Wachowskis' first choice.
Huh.
Well,
Brad Pitt had just done Fight Club, which is basically this movie.
One. The craziest one, though, is probably what Nick's about to bring up. That the script writer or the screenplay, whoever this Lorenzo de Bonaventura, sent the screenplay to Sandra Bullock, and they considered flipping the gender of the Neo role to female, which would have been just wild. So that's the one, the Neo role. So many actors.
You missed. That wasn't what I was about to bring up. You missed the best one.
Oh, which one?
It's really funny. It's funny to think of this guy as Neo. David Schwimmer.
Oh.
Ew, no.
Can you imagine?
We were on a break.
Can you imagine?
My name's Neo, and I'm the one.
While we're doing this, I know that Sam Jackson was also considered for Morpheus.
Yes, Sam Jackson, Gary Oldman, and Val Kilmer were considered
again. Man, they really wanted him.
They
for
really
something.
wanted Val. But Val Kilmer was huge in the '90s. He was coming off Top Gun. You know,
I could see him in this movie though. I feel like he would fit.
And then Trinity, was the first person to approach for Trinity was Janet Jackson, which is interesting. Sandra Bullock, who was previously approached for the role of Neo, was offered Trinity and turned it down. Rosie Perez, Salma Hayek, and Jada Pinkett Smith. But she's in later. She's in another role.
I did get a little mad. I was like, you! When I saw her in the other movie. I was like, you caused all this drama at the Golden Globes or whatever it was, the Oscars. I don't fucking know.
Also, Drew Barrymore.
Really?
What?
Wow.
Which, again, insane to think about that.
That would not have been a good fit, I don't think.
Those are really
I also read Madonna.
Madonna? Ugh.
Drew Barrymore is a really funny
or
one.
pre-Madonna?
Oh, God. And then Hugo Weaving, literally hot off of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, because those all filmed in the same year.
Oh, he did this before this.
He did Matrix before that?
No, I'm asking you.
Well, Lord of the Rings was all filmed in 1999. Okay. They did all three at the same time. And this came out in 99, so he may have done... Timeline-wise, he may have done...
I figured this was his breakout role, but he kills it as Smith, man.
You know,
I can't imagine anybody else doing Smith.
No.
Hugo Weaving is in this movie, which is filmed in Australia, and then he just, hopped over to New Zealand real quick and did Lord of the Rings as Elrond.
Took a quick jaunt.
Just, right over there. He's already in that side of the world. That was really the only actors that I saw, like the Neo, the Morpheus, and the... what's her face? Jesus. Trinity. But we all talked a little bit pre-show. I had a note about another actor. And I was going to try to spin it off into, if we were to recast the whole film today, who would we put in each role? But that's way too much work and way too long and not interesting. However, Cypher if we were to recast Cypher, I think there is such a clear and obvious choice that would make it the same role in the exact same way. And I hope both of you are all also thinking
It's the first thing I
too.
Bill
Yep.
Burr.
100%.
As soon as I heard, he's like, "But Jesus," out of me. I was like, "Oh, that's Bill Burr." I was like, it was like he was doing a Bill Burr impression. I was like, just
Yeah,
like,
no, it was to the point where I was Googling that whoever the guy is that actually played him. I was like, I know I've seen this guy somewhere. And then halfway through, I was like, oh my God, it's Bill Burr.
Yeah.
That's why it's
I'm
so
trying to look it
familiar.
up.
It's
They had
so funny.
Seinfeld in Pulp Fiction. They got Bill Burr in Matrix. And
Oh, I wonder if there's a deep fake.
Joe
I don't know. I feel like we're
Pantoliano.
treading new ground here, but yeah, it's so funny. It's the first thing I thought of. It was just the way his cadence is everything. Bald, the facial hair.
Dude,
It's just like, oh,
he's
so
just
Bill
Bill
Burr.
Burr. So funny.
Yeah.
He's cracking up. I'm like, especially after seeing Bill Burr in was he in The Mandalorian, where he was playing like a serious kind of a similar role, but he's not a worm, you know, like
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot that he was in.
like for multiple episodes.
And Breaking Bad.
I haven't seen Breaking
What?
Bill Burr? What?
Bill Burr's in Breaking Bad?
Are you kidding?
I didn't know Bill Burr then.
Oh man, he's
Who was he in
he's the
Breaking
guy-
Bad?
He's one of the the thugs that the guy that runs and hits his head on the couch and dies.
That's a bad way to die. How embarrassing.
Oh,
You remember that guy? Him and the big
man.
dude.
I've already been contemplating rewatching that show. I might do it now.
I thought about
Just
it,
for
but
Bill
that's
Burr.
a lot of show. Yeah,
Bad.
it wouldn't be as stressful now that I know what happens.
Oh, I couldn't do it. I got through 2 or 3 episodes of that, and once a bathtub liquid fell from the ceiling, I'm like, I'm out. I'm out. So the spoon scene. I want to talk about that because I had a moment during
There is no spoon scene.
There is no spoon scene where I was like, because they do the bending with the mind, right? Like the little girl's bending the spoon. Is that from this?
What?
Okay. I know that might seem stupid, but I feel like I'd seen that in other, like maybe everything parodying it in other
yeah,
stuff.
it's been parodied endless times. In the bullet time,
and I was like, oh, she's doing the spoon bit, but then I was like, wait,
This is the spoon.
this is the spoon, but also there is no spoon. And then my last note I had was this movie, and you mentioned this earlier in a little bit of a different way, but it's so full of, and in the similar vein of you saying that it's very heavy-handed with its imagery, so full of cliches.
yeah,
Like he's beginning
the
to
know
believe.
thyself over the door.
Yeah, all that malarkey. I was like, I
gas.
was rolling with it, but I'm like, dude.
It is kind of heavy-handed, but yeah,
But
I don't hate it for that.
It's also the
Like,
90s.
Yeah,
So the cliches it's been 30 years almost. Like the cliches.
and the
More
concept of the
cliches
internet
now.
was also relatively new, so they kind of had to make
for
it
God's
really
sakes,
literal and make sense.
He was peddling floppy disks
Yeah,
in the movie.
I did
so-
think it's aged pretty well though. Like it
Yeah,
didn't
I
feel
think
like
the visual effects aged well.
I mean, it was 99, but it didn't feel like a 90s movie.
some of the visual effects are a little rough, but it's like that early animation that still kind of feels okay.
yeah.
Like it feels
Yeah.
more tactile for some reason.
There was one scene where he was like, "I need a gun," and then just a rack full of guns magically appeared.
Well,
Well,
they
they're
were
in the
in the training
program.
thing though, or in the program.
Yeah. I'm just saying that specific scene. I was like, that didn't age well.
I liked
But overall, I thought it aged pretty well.
all the gun stuff. She actually was laughing at me because every time
Oh
a
my
gun
God,
came on
every gun,
screen,
he's like, that's a Glock, blah, 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 or whatever.
I was like, oh, Desert Eagle. Oh, Spaz 12. H&K MP5K. Like, I was just every gun. I was like, oh, this is sick. I don't know. I'm a gun nerd, I guess.
Play a lot of Call of Duty.
Yeah, and other games from my childhood back in the day had a lot of those guns too. So around the
Dude,
same
that
era.
scene where he had all the guns strapped to him and they just go in and wreak havoc on all those guys.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Such a
I
good
like
scene.
I like the mix between gunfight and kung fu, I
Like
guess.
martial arts, yeah.
Mhm.
In that scene. Yeah.
They did a lot
Yeah, it was
of
really cool.
You know what movie you would like is Equilibrium. There's a lot of that kind of stuff in there. It's Christian Bale.
Nice.
There's a
Add it
lot
to
of
the list.
like
Yeah.
fly by wire kung fu, and they have a term for that, and I can't remember. But but they had to do a lot of training for that stuff.
Yeah, it was like 6 months or something. It was a ton.
It was a lot, and then Keanu, like Hugo Weaving had to have his hip replaced from an accident on set.
Who is that?
Mr. Smith.
Mr. Smith. Agent Smith.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of accidents happened. The
training, and Keanu broke his he broke something, and he had to keep fighting.
He had to keep fighting through it. And they had to do a lot of his action scenes later. And then his stunt double during the train fight, the train station fight with Agent Smith, where he's slammed it. He's like, they had those like cable poles, right? And they pulled him into a wall and then pulled him into the ceiling. He broke a bunch of ribs and got really jacked up, like broke his elbow and stuff. So the stunt double took a lot of hits from that. That stuff actually was pretty dangerous and really inspired though by kung fu movies of decades previous. So
fun fact about the stunt double guy, he went on to co-direct John Wick.
I really wanted to watch
movie, and they
John Wick movies after this. I've never seen one.
I wanted to too, and I've got Peacock, but it's free on Peacock with ads. So I can't I'm like, do I just buy it on Amazon and just like not have it? And I've also heard a theory that the John Wick movies are a Matrix program.
Oh.
It's like that's
fun.
It's like a Hitman program.
That's fun.
But there's tons of theories like that where they just kind of like, it's like Star Wars is a part of the Matrix, and I'm like, well then okay, where are we going?
Everything
like,
is.
I've seen everything. Like it gets a little gratuitous.
I've heard such good things about the latest John Wick movie.
Yeah, I've heard the last hour is insane.
Because I heard the third one was like, and they really returned to form with the fourth one. I want to talk about one more thing that's kind of not movie related, but is, and it's something that's in the back of my mind, although I don't have all of it in my mind while watching a movie. It's one, I'm trying to familiarize as we go through these films with not only the act structure, which I'm not super clear on. Like I know when we're in the third act, I know when we're in the first act, and I have a hard time kind of identifying transitions in acts and films. And the other thing that I keep in my mind is, because I'm a huge fan of his, is the Dan Harmon story circle, which is something that he talks about a lot in Harmontown. And it is a modification of the story circle that we learned in school and whatever.
Hero's Journey.
Yeah, it is. It's very similar to the Hero's Journey. And in this movie in particular, I felt that, and it's really because of the Oracle, that it really highlighted and was a perfect use case for the Dan Harmon story circle. In that, I'll just go through it. There's 8 steps to the story circle. The U step, which is first, which is establish the protagonist. And then the need, something isn't right, which is the whole, White Rabbit, malarkey, the phone call. Crossing the threshold, which is red pill, blue pill. The road of trials, the whole training stuff, and then Morpheus getting taken and all that stuff kind of falls into that area. And then this is the part that is the least clear to me in some movies, because it is not as literal as in this movie, and which is why I'm bringing this up, because there's a step called the meeting the goddess, and that is the Oracle part of this film. And I was just like, I'm finally getting, like, I have a use case for the story circle, because we're actually meeting a goddess at this point and kind of finding another purpose. And then there's paying the price, which is where the sacrifice normally happens, and then bringing it home, and then the master of both worlds, which is the change part at the end. So the Dan Harmon story circle, look it up and have it in front of you when you watch a movie. I did for this one, and it was great. So shout out to Dan Harmon, who is perfect and makes brilliant things all the time.
I just watched a video about when Community became Community, so that's hilarious.
Nice. Go ahead. Yeah. Oh yes, no.
Speaking of red pill, blue pill, I wanted to ask the group, which pill would you choose?
I'll go pill all day.
I'll go first.
Neo's situation.
Oh, Nick went first. Nick, what'd you say?
Sorry,
I missed it.
No brainer. Blue pill.
Blue pill.
I don't want anything to do.
100%. I may be a little weenie, but put me in Weenie Hut General. I'm taking a blue pill.
Yep.
No, leave me in the Matrix. I don't want to fight and survive. I'll be a battery forever.
I'm with Cypher, but without the betrayal and stuff.
Yeah, just leave me there.
Make me rich. Make me an actor or something. I'm chilling.
Make me a Duracell battery.
There was a theory that he went back and became Ronald Reagan, because he said he wanted to be somebody important. He died,
bro.
Actor. Well, this is This could be any time. He could be sent back into a past Matrix that he only exists in.
He was an important.
I mean, anything's
actor.
possible. Yeah.
And a
Probably not
bastard.
much. That theory probably doesn't hold much water, but
Freaking
yeah,
Ronald
there's a
Reagan.
ton of theories out there, man. It's crazy.
Carl, which pill?
I'm gonna take both.
You can't take both.
I'm taking a purple pill, and I'm gonna live in both worlds.
You can't take both pills.
What would
What'll happen? Nobody's
What
ever
would
done it. I'm the anomaly of anomalies.
Yo.
I'm taking both pills.
You're just
I'm
like,
just gonna be like,
and Morpheus is like,
fuck. Like,
nobody's ever done that before.
he's like, at last.
Also,
Yeah.
like, what did that? You remind me what the pill did? Like,
It was
did
a
it just
tracer.
represent the choice, or
It was
The
a
pill, it
No.
was like, yeah, it inserted a program that like found his body within the field, deactivated his thing, and made him appear dead, so that the robot would let him go and flush him, and they could go get his body.
okay? Thank you.
Yeah,
Was I supposed to pull that out of the movie, or is that something you learned?
No,
I watched a lot of
after the
reviews.
fact?
Well, and
yeah,
I recall that a little bit because they did kind of explain that it was
he,
a program.
he does say it's like a tracer
Yeah.
program,
Yeah.
but the rest you kind of you have to like look up a little bit of the stuff. They don't
I
tell
feel
you.
like this is definitely a movie I could watch multiple times
Well, it's
Yeah.
because it's like
and enjoy it
That's-
in different ways.
that's the parts where it's like, oh, this is sci-fi for real,
Mhm.
in a way that
Yeah.
like Star Wars is not. Because Star Wars isn't sci-fi; it's a space opera.
Yeah,
This
it's
is
definitely more on the fantasy.
fantasy, like the Dune
Feel.
realm.
Yeah.
Oh god, freaking Dune's so good. We get more Dune this year.
I need to watch that. Yeah.
We get more Dune this
Have you
year.
not
When does the
seen
new one
Dune,
come
Carl?
out?
No,
I haven't seen Dune
November,
yet.
October. It'll be
Carl.
late this year.
You should watch it. It's
Oh,
really
I
We
love
could do a
Dune.
double feature.
We
Yeah,
should.
finish
We
the book.
should do. We will have to have a bonus episode for Dune. Maybe that's our catch up. LOL. We'll see. So let's do. Anybody have anything else before we do Star?
Well, I did have. So this was one kind of. I don't know if it's just coincidence, but the Oracle, when she's like, "I'm sorry, kiddo, you're not the one," gives him a cookie.
a misdirect or the
But a cookie is a web thing, and I think this is way before the cookie was established, like in the '90s. Or am I off base?
Is
Were there
that
cookies back
the
then?
origin?
'Cause
I
I'm
mean, the web
wondering-
was just starting. I mean, it was around.
Right. So I don't know if there was actually web cookies back then, but a cookie is like it's supposed to it's like not a modal, but it's like it recognizes certain things when certain things happen, and it like supposed to trigger faster responses, right, or something like that. So there is some theories that like when he takes that cookie, he's kind of updated with new features, and that's why he's able to move
No.
faster and stuff like that.
No.
It's not from that.
Okay.
It's so much lamer. It was coined from the term quote magic cookies, that derives from a fortune cookie, i.e., a cookie with an embedded message.
But that's way after this. They weren't like referencing the actual.
It was not a
cookies?
reference to.
Okay.
No.
I was wondering if
Also
there was
don't
any
think
like
it downloaded
any.
knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I mean, they can
I
download
mean-
how to fly a helicopter and how to do everything
Yeah,
else.
but
so
not
it's-
be.
through eating a cookie. Boo.
I
I
mean,
liked it.
they found him through eating a pill. I mean, anything can happen. That's why it's kind of like a weird world.
It
of
was a
Matrix.
weird-
Like you can kind of.
Misdirect with the whole he's not the one thing, but then we also get that in Star Wars with the Luke
Yeah.
Skywalker.
also
There's
was-
another.
I was kind of let down by the Oracle. Thought his interaction with her was a little underwhelming.
I'm gonna sneeze.
But
I
it
don't
was just
know.
what he
It
needed.
Felt quick.
Bless you.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. But I don't know. It felt quick. She's not who I thought she was going to be. Like, I felt like they hyped up. He's
We
finally
are.
meeting the
Well,
Oracle.
we had to have
She's just watching some kids and baking some cookies.
Yeah.
I think the story needed external doubt put upon Neo for him to
Yeah.
overcome. I think that made it a little have more gravity when he did like become awesome than just his self doubt, because everybody else is gassing him up.
Yeah, that was like his tipping point.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I
I
think
did also really
narratively,
love.
the Oracle needed to be a bummer.
Yeah.
Um,
I also really loved her breaking the vase thing. She's like, it's okay about the vase.
Yeah.
And then he breaks it. And then she was like,
that's funny.
what's really going to mess
bake
you
your
up
noodle?
is.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's going to bake your noodle? As if, would you
Just
have broken
wrinkle
it if
my
I didn't say
brain.
anything? Yeah.
That
Just
made me
wrinkle my brain.
point at the screen.
Yeah.
That was my screen point moment. I was like, oh,
That was the Leo.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was my Leo moment. One day we'll watch that. What movie is that again? I know I asked that every time.
Once Upon a Time in
Once Upon a
Hollywood.
Time in
I just watched that.
Mhm.
I know how that
Watched it
ends,
without us.
which makes me not want to watch it.
I do not. So shut up.
It's an enjoyable movie without like that finale.
Maybe we'll do a Tarantino month next year.
That'd be sick. Yeah.
Ooh.
I would love that.
We should do that. We got to nail down our themes. I think I want to do themes, and I also want to do new movies, and go see some theater stuff. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Should we do star ratings now, and then do a poll?
I think so.
Yeah,
I'm
you
reading
have
my
anything
notes,
else?
make sure I don't have anything I'm
Go through your
missing.
notes really
A
quick.
poll.
A pull from the bucket.
A
From the
poll.
bucket.
The
Yeah.
only other thing I have is that like they're just killing real people constantly. It's kind of like the zombie
Well, are they
apocalypse
real?
thing. It's like, well, they're all plugged in.
Yeah, well, when you die in
Like,
the
all the
Matrix, you
people-
die. So they're killing
Yeah.
the plugged-in people.
Right.
And to
Like,
those
everybody-
people,
Keep
they're
growing
not
more.
woken either. So
Yeah.
they're real to themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're just like, yeah, it's kind of haphazard. They're just killing. hundreds of people in their
it's almost
process,
worse for the agents and the Nebuchadnezzar crew because they're killing them twice. They're killing them in the Matrix, but also they know that they're plugged in and also dead. So the
Yeah.
Matrix is just
A lot of casualties
flushing
in the
just
floor here.
No, I
Yeah.
mean lots of baby food.
Ew. Yeah, they're
Lots of-
growing like
lots of
thousands
baby
of more
food.
babies. So.
Yeah, the baby spiders. I really hated the baby spiders.
Yeah.
They were just
Mm.
gross. I don't like
Yeah,
spiders.
and I guess there's the argument too, where it's like, are people really the best battery source? But you have to always
they
suspend
explained
some
that the
disbelief or
machines
whatever.
found out that they were a pretty good source
Well,
of. I
because
think
Yeah.
it
the
was
humans like ruined.
I never
the
had any qualms with that, but like, there's tons of videos where it's like, people aren't really battery sources. They're not really that conductive or what. It's not and it's also like, why did they need to put us in a dream state? Couldn't they put us in like some comatose thing where why do we have to have a whole simulation? But I
Yeah.
mean,
Because they're
I never had
trying to
any problems with that. I'm just,
The
Maybe-
people have
machines
made
wanted
tons
us
of videos
to
about it.
Pretend that we had joy.
Or maybe we were better energy sources when our brains are more active, thinking.
Ooh.
we're in a
Maybe they do
simulation.
get into that a little bit in the fourth movie about different like scenarios within the Matrix that do yield higher battery output.
Oh, I'm
but
getting
not
ahead
gonna-
of. I'm getting ahead of us.
Yeah,
All right.
that's not a big
So
plot point.
I do have one question.
yeah.
I kind of got lost on like, and this might sound dumb, but what was the significance of him being the one? Like, why was it so important that
find
he
out
found out
later
that he was
on.
the one?
Do you find out later on?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because he's the-
if you watch Reloaded,
Like-
that will answer
Is that
some
the
of
second
your
one?
questions. That's
Yeah.
the second one.
That's fair.
like we haven't gotten.
Because
into
like
the
they talk
save the
about
world
how,
part.
yeah, and they talk about how like the
It's taking
one
every
can
bit of me
move
not
within the
saying it all right
Matrix.
now. I want to tell you so bad. Just watch it quick.
I guess just hold that thought.
You have to mute
Yeah.
my mic.
Hold
Your
that
question
thought till
is
we watch
answered by the
next
later
year.
films.
Yeah.
No, we gotta
that's
not.
fair.
Yeah.
We gotta not wait a year and maybe.
It's
just
a lot
watch
of
these out
movie.
band.
It's a lot of movie, especially like, yeah, it's so much. It's like 8.5, 9 hours of movies to get through it all. But
Well, hey, so is the Lord of the Rings trilogy. We gotta
Yeah.
watch those next year too.
yeah,
They're actually closer to 10. When you watch the extended editions, it's so good. It's so good. It's so good. It's so good.
One day.
It's better than anything we've watched this year so far, except for maybe Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction.
Maybe
Okay,
Pulp Fiction
okay.
is better, but everything else is worse than Lord of the Rings to me.
Wow.
So let's do star ratings, which is I don't know about y'all, something I literally have not thought about.
Same.
I'm just kind of going to go with my gut.
I thought about it a little.
I guess I'll just start because I'm yakking currently. Gosh, I really liked it. I mentioned earlier I want more, which is a good sign. I want more lore, but I tend to be drawn to sci-fi stuff. I think it's sick, so really like it. This is tough because I want to put it somewhere around 4 stars. I think, but it's between 3.5 and 4 for me, I believe. Gosh, I really enjoyed it. It's above average, 3 being an average movie. It's not close to Pulp Fiction, which was my 5. I think I'm gonna do 4.
Oh,
I think I'm gonna give it a 4.
I'm kind of surprised by that.
I think I'm gonna go Matrix 4 stars. I really liked it.
Interesting.
It was an enjoyable movie.
Little action movie.
Little action, and action's not my favorite thing in the world. I don't need a bunch of guys to be getting punched in the face to think a movie's good. I would have rather had more.
More lore.
Yeah, space alien, gross needlehead kind of
Ugh,
stuff.
needlehead.
More what is the Matrix really?
Yeah.
But there's 3 more movies in a animated series to watch. So, and I will. But I think I'm gonna give it a 4, and hopefully won't regret that later. Somebody else, take it.
I'll go next. I liked it. I enjoyed how suspenseful it was there at the beginning, or even really the first half. It kind of felt like you were leaning up to something big, and they were. But also, there were a couple things I didn't like. I thought some of the writing was a little rough, and maybe it's just because it's 23 years old, 24 years old. But like, there's scenes where he's climbing out the window at the very beginning in the office, and he's like, "What did I do to deserve this?" Like, and then whenever he's
as the cliches I was talking about,
yeah, and he watches Morpheus jump, and he just goes, "Whoa!" And I don't know, something about either his delivery or the way some of it was written.
I think
was
some
really
of that
funny
is
when it
also
shouldn't
like
be funny.
I think some of that is also like looking at the 90s in the rearview mirror, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And maybe just Keanu's personality shining through there. But I really liked it. I thought Carl would point out more is just kind of the metaphor of like the Matrix being a dream, because Carl loves dreams.
I was gonna get into that when I do my review a little bit.
Okay, sorry. I should have let you.
No, that's all. It's good. It's good.
Let me talk about everything I have written about dreams to ruin Carl's review. But no, it was a metaphor for dreams and kind of challenged what was real and how you define real, which I really enjoyed. But yeah. The other thing that I didn't like, though, that's probably going to affect the review too, was I felt like Trinity and Neo's like love story was really rushed and just kind of thrown there at the end.
Yeah, can we talk about the Snow White kiss moment? Like he was dead and she kisses him and then he came back to life.
You can't be dead because I love you.
Oh, yeah.
It felt very unnecessary.
Still not as bad as Rise of Skywalker.
Their relationship's a little dull.
Still not as bad as Rise of Skywalker.
Okay, no.
Nothing is worse than that kiss in all of cinema.
It makes more sense than this kiss.
No, it doesn't.
I think it might.
No.
This
one, the Matrix kiss is like more rushed and like heavy-handed, but the other one is like shoehorned. Like it absolutely, like J.J. Abrams should be in jail for that. In Cameron's America, that dude's in Guantanamo Bay for that movie. 100%. You hear me, J.J. Abrams?
And to some defense of the Matrix, Trinity had been watching Neo for quite some time, so she might have become like a little bit infatuated with him or fallen in love with him
That's
for
like
some
when
time.
you think you know a Twitch streamer, she's like watching.
She's simping a little bit for this guy.
She watched him,
which is, ahead of its time for a woman to simp for a man that's so progressive.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
We do get the scene where she's bringing him lunch or bringing him food, and the other guy's like, "You never did that for me." So I guess it was kind of there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
She has to play the tough character role, but I don't know. And she's also seen like 5 men in the last 10 years, so it's like she sees him and she's like, "Oh, he's hot."
He's probably the most.
Well, he's the one too.
Bunch.
Yeah, he's the one. Yeah.
Well, he's the one
chasing that fame.
You gotta fall for the one.
That's right.
Yeah. Gotta fall for the one.
Stars, though, Nick.
Stars, yeah. One other last note, though. I really like the way it was filmed, like visually, how the Matrix was green, real life, not the Matrix was blue, and then the construct where they like did training and stuff was kind of yellow, which is a mix between the green and blue. I don't know if that was intentional, but I really liked how they separated it there visually.
It's interesting too that they did blue for the real world when you have to take the red pill to see it.
True.
Well,
yeah.
Probably didn't think about that.
Should have just been red?
I don't know.
Red would have made sense because the machines had red eye. They were all like red-eyed, creepy spiders.
Yeah. Someone edit it.
Go back.
Make it red.
Do it again.
Just switch the pills and leave the rest of the movie the same.
Smart. For star rating, I think I'm going to go 3.5.
Yeah.
Just because I didn't like some of the dialogue and the love story stuff. Felt forced. Those are the factors there. 3.5.
Still pretty high rating. It's a good movie.
Yeah.
Above average film. Danielle, you want to go next?
Sure, I'll go next.
I can go if you're not ready.
I mean, you liked it enough to wear sunglasses for the episode.
Yeah.
The listeners don't know that,
Does
but
that mean, yeah, listeners, I am wearing sunglasses right
5
now
stars.
because I am in the Matrix.
I just thought you were hungover.
You know me. I'm
known partier.
Podcast live. Yeah.
Get lit, fam.
Jesus wept.
Yeah.
Rate the movie.
Rate the movie. I don't know why this is so hard. Probably because I haven't thought about it. No, I thought this movie was average for me. Like, I enjoyed it.
Oof, not enough singing.
There wasn't enough singing, man. There was like no songs. Never did they break out into a tap dance.
Gotta
breakdown.
dance.
Gotta wake up from the Matrix.
You know,
Good morning.
I got so.
What if they sang that when he gets up? He like gets up from the goo, and all the other pods start singing.
Good morning. Good morning. It's great to wake up from the Matrix. And he's just like, what
Someone
the hell's going
edit
on? He's just bald and like freezing, and and muscles are atrophied. He's freaking out. He screams.
The real world
You
nightmare.
and you.
The real world nightmare just is a movie musical that you're trapped in forever.
I want a Matrix musical parody now. Make it happen. Holy crap.
The Matrix on Broadway.
Don't put it past them. They put literally
That needs to happen. That would be insane.
Oh, let's write it.
So
Let's
good.
wait it.
Yeah.
become millionaires.
Oh man.
I don't just like musicals. I like other things too. No, I got so stressed at the end, like where, like the whole like final battle sequence where they're trying to rescue Morpheus. I think at one point I was like, "Oh my God, just hurry up and go and save him."
They're in the walls.
Even though like I know I knew what happened. I knew they were gonna be okay, but I was like, he has to make it for like 3 more movies. I know he's gonna survive, but I was still
Spoilers.
like, oh my gosh.
I never even thought about that.
So I don't like it when I get stressed. So
Me either. Feel you.
I think I'm gonna go 3 for this one.
All right.
Average movie. I liked it, but I didn't love it. I wouldn't want to watch it a lot.
All right. So we always walk up. So Carl now has to do 4.5 stars for his.
Probably is because Carl likes literally everything.
He
we
likes
watch.
every movie.
No, I don't
Yeah,
like
you do.
everything.
No, what was
You
the one
have.
that?
Alright.
What was the one you didn't like? One that we liked, right? Didn't you not
Singing
like
in the
one?
Rain.
I liked
Singing in the Rain.
Gangs of New York. I almost rewatched Gangs of New York because
I don't
they
think
haven't
I
made a
would do
meme
that.
from it yet. I couldn't. I stopped because I was like, I don't want to do this. Not right now. I mean, obviously, I really like it. The movie. I'm wearing the black and the green lights and everything.
Well, we were
but-
all the time.
I know that's true, but yeah. So, but as far as like the '90s was just so full of these like, I don't know, like these dystopian awakening movies.
Yeah.
Like you have Fight Club, which is like this exact movie but less green.
Terminator.
You have Office Space, where the guy like kind of wakes up and realizes like the real job doesn't matter. Like you have a ton of movies like this in the '90s. I don't know what was going on,
What were they trying to
but
do?
yeah,
Well, Y2K
we're-
was
Find the
coming.
meaning of life.
yeah, impending doom, I guess.
New millennium.
But I love this movie. I think it's really fun. I think the that plot twist where like he's in this like he's a human battery is just like crazy. And I think the dream world, kind of what they're alluding to that they were living in, is I wish they had done more to that end, where it's like I'm into like lucid dreaming, and you can kind of like warp reality a little bit, and kind of like there's like these weird rules within the dream world that I'm trying to crack and I can't quite figure it
Yeah.
out. But I wish they had done more like that. Almost like more in the Inception route, where they kind of like bent reality a little bit more. I feel like when they got into the Matrix, they kind of at least some of the operators kind of seemed like they forgot they were in a computer game almost, because they like would stick to like the real expected movements or whatever. But
like the limits of.
yeah, like
reality.
which I guess it's hard to shake that because it's so believable. But I mean that's what made Neo so prolific. But I don't know. This movie's got so many, iconic scenes with like the bullet dodging, the red or blue pill. Oh God, and I just love
Spoon.
movies that have like, the spoon. There's no spoon. Like I just love when a movie does something that becomes either a parody or is like referenced throughout other things. I think that's just cool.
Even just the look of this movie is very iconic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and oh my god, the style, like
The sunglasses
90s
and trench
style
coats,
does not
man.
usually, it does not age well for the most part. In this, like for some reason, I let it slide. I'm like, this still works.
Yeah.
Hang on. You say
up?
that, but we
Yeah.
worked with a guy
Uh-oh.
who had
Oh
a
no.
who had a Neo
Yeah.
phase, and it does
Yeah.
not work.
Did not
in the
work.
real world.
Yeah. It works in movies. It works.
I didn't even recognize it as a trench coat. I thought about that after I watched the movie. I was like, holy crap, he wore a trench coat. Like it made sense here.
Yeah, I mean, I liked the
Not in real
fashion
life.
to a level, but I liked it within. I didn't.
I like it
this-
behind the screen.
This white boy does not want a trench coat.
No. Oh, you look
Trench
like
coats
crazy
now are a little
person.
too scary with,
I still want a poncho though.
A poncho would be sick.
Oh, let's get ponchos. You
Um,
have one. You had one.
I have a scarf that I wrapped around like a poncho.
Well,
it's not a
yeah.
real poncho. Yeah. It
I want a
looks good from the
poncho
front.
made out of the same material that the Cracker Barrel checkers mats.
Ah, that sounds comfy.
Laminated or whatever it is.
No,
it
they're like the
sounds
rugs.
itchy.
They're like the rug.
Okay.
The
The ones
rug
I'm thinking of like
ones.
the tablecloth with like the slick finish.
No. Give
don't
me,
even know where it
give
is
me,
New age
give me a
Cracker Barrel.
poncho made of varnish.
Yeah. Oh
Go to
man.
Home Depot. get a
Raincoat
poncho real
material.
quick.
Just cut a hole.
We
in it.
hammer this out.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. though.
I thought Mr. Agent Smith was great. I thought he was so like when the helicopter shows up to the window, he's just like, no. I just thought it was like, it's so funny. I loved it a lot. I think I'm with Cameron though. I think I'm gonna give it a flat 4. Like I think
Yeah.
I gave Fight Club a 4 or 5, and this is not as good as Fight Club in my opinion. I think Fight Club is a better more like I think the twist is better in Fight Club.
You're
I
right.
think the story of like me versus me is bigger than me versus the machines kind of
Yeah,
thing.
and other like an overrule.
Yeah, and I wish like it was a little bit more maybe abstract in the way the fights work, because it's still just very combat. And it's
Yeah.
like if you're in a dream world and you can bend physics, why didn't you just like turn gravity off and they just go flying up? Or like why are you it's like it's still very grounded in physics, I guess.
Yeah.
So that I feel like that could have been more fun. And they didn't really do anything like that in any of the movies. So I was like, they didn't really get to that dream state kind of thing. But I guess it's not really a dream. It's more of a video game or whatever. But I feel like that could have been more fun visual. But yeah, I feel like a 4 is
Yeah, it's a good movie.
yeah.
It's a good movie. Well, there you go. There you have it, folks. We all liked
it.
The Matrix.
We did.
We're back on the same page once again. So, let's pull a movie, huh? Get
Let's do it.
back on our schedule
Let's
of
do it.
a movie a week. We may only watch 51 movies this year, but
I
hey,
don't know.
whatever.
I don't know what I want.
You know what you want.
I don't know what I want this movie to be.
I want Truman Show.
The Bucket.
Another like waking
I
up
want
movie.
Truman Show so bad, or The Mummy.
Still want 2001:
Spirited
Space
Away.
Odyssey 2 though.
I have no idea what this movie is.
Oh no.
I have no idea.
You can't read it.
No, I can read my handwriting. I just don't know what. I pulled Inside Llewyn Davis.
Oh,
It's a musical.
That's the yeah.
I wouldn't consider
Sorta.
that a musical. There's music in
It's
it.
the one with Justin Timberlake, right? And Oscar Isaac.
And Oscar, yeah, and the guy that plays the other guy
Is it Jeff Bridges?
in the movie,
Kylo?
the Star Wars movie. Yeah, no,
Adam Driver.
no, he's in there, but then the redhead guy too. I thought. No, am I thinking
Wow,
of
a
a
lot of
different
Star
movie?
Wars.
What?
people.
I don't know.
No, he's not in there. Kylo is.
Adam Driver.
I just
What
saw
am I
something
thinking
about
of?
this that made me
Is it
more
newer
interested
then?
in it.
It's like 2018.
2013.
Oh wow.
Damn, I was way off.
Well, let's end this before the dogs end it. We're gonna watch whatever that movie is. It's a musical, so she'll be happy.
Well, it has music in it.
It has music in it. All movies have music in them.
I don't know.
There's
if it's a
singing in it though, like
Yeah.
show tunes.
Well, he's a folk singer, so.
Oh, well,
It's
I
hey.
don't
not
know if
show
there's
tunes.
but
Oh,
It
well,
feels more organic.
okay. Well, we're gonna watch that on
We're gonna watch
something.
that.
Watch it with us, and we'll rate it. And we'll try not to get sick next time, so we can have a podcast on the schedule. Holy cow, these dogs are gonna bring the house down. All right, we're gonna watch that movie.
Beans.
Thanks for listening. Follow us on TikTok before it gets taken down by the government, and we will catch you in the next one.